At least he's at the beach.
Definitely.
That's
All right,
awesome.
so I should start letting everybody in. Let's
Okay.
see if they all come in or not.
Ready.
Sometimes it does it right away. Sometimes it doesn't. Hey, here they are.
Oh, there we are.
Hey there.
Screen.
Danny.
There's everybody.
Hi, Danny.
Hello. So we'll give it about a few more minutes for everybody to log in, since I know everybody waits till last minute to click on their link.
And sometimes technology gets in the way.
I think just real life gets in the way all the time.
Yeah.
All right, so looks like we got most of everybody in here. Let's see. Still missing about 3 or 4 that RSVP'd, so I'm sure they'll jump on in. But we'll start this week's Lunch and Learn. So thanks for joining us, guys. We're going to have Omar with Southwestern Consulting doing it. But first, I want to introduce Veronica Franco with Provident title. So she's the vice president there. She's referred by Elva, who's one of her clients. As we know here at TRG, we have an open vendor program, so you guys can work with any vendors you guys want. We really want to get them in on education. So if you guys have any vendors that want to do any kind of lunch and learns or office meetings, pitch them our way. It's an easy way for them to get introduced to our agents. But I'll toss it over to Veronica so she can tell a little bit about what she does on her team.
Hi, happy Thursday, everyone. Thank you, Danny. I don't know if Elva's on the line, so I really want to thank her from the bottom of my heart for inviting me and our special awesome speaker that you will soon hear. Just wanted to share a little bit of history with Elva. I've been her rep for as long as I can remember. I've been in the business for over 20 some years. As you know, she is one of the top producer, and I have been able to assist her with marketing and many tools to lead generate and add value to her business. I have a great team at Provident Title to assist with online services, especially during these times. I would love the opportunity to set up anyone that's interested on our online services, our mobile app, and also customizing your farms. It's a great time to farm. So we have a lot of tools to help you lead generate, and that's the key, right? Farming. I also have the resources for distressed properties. And many more services to add value to both you and I. I would love an opportunity to meet one-to-one, whether it's over coffee or on a Zoom meeting. I will add my contact information to the chat box. And the screen is kind of getting smaller. Sorry about that. I will add my contact information to the chat box so that if you would like to meet up with me and learn a little bit more about how I can help you have an amazing 2021, I would love to be part of your team. So just wanted to share a little bit about that. And of course, our goal at Provident Title is to provide you with stellar customer service. Now, let me go ahead and introduce our speaker for today, Omar Iribe. Omar works with the professional consulting and coaching division of a 160-year-old company called Southwestern. Hold on, make the screen bigger. Okay, here we go. Southwestern is known worldwide for training salespeople how to become top producers, elevate sales, and achieve victories by applying proven principles of philosophies. While at Southwestern, Omar finished the top 1% in a field of around 3,000 vendors year after year. This is his 17th year with the company. He graduated from UCLA and obtained a master's degree from the University of San Diego and Business and Global Leadership. He also became district sales leader for the Western Third of the United States, Canada, then expanded to Europe with Southwestern and became the top sales leader and recruiter in the company's history that has existed since 1855. For 2017, he was awarded Coach of the Year, and in 2018 received an award for supporting salespeople to achieve the highest growth in sales out of thousands of clients. Omar is here today to share ideas with us that will help to challenge the way we look at our business, increase production, and to preview an amazing one-on-one performance coaching program entitled Top Producers Edge. Everyone, please give a big warm welcome to Omar Iribe.
Wow, thank you so much, Veronica. That was
Normally
amazing.
we'd all be
That was
clapping right
perfect.
now.
That was exactly how I wrote it. So that was amazing. Thank you for the introduction. I really appreciate it. Danny, Veronica, I know Elva, super grateful to be here today and be able to share some ways on how we can elevate this next month and a half to grow our business. So how many of you would like to grow your business towards this year and make 2021 even better? How many of us? Raise your hand, clap. Do a little bit of sign in the computer myself. And before I get started, I just like to hear a little bit of everyone who is on. It is an honor to be here with everybody, but if we can just have one thing that you're kind of grateful for. I love to start any kind of meeting. What's going well in your business, in your life, what you're grateful for through all these challenges that we've had this year. So we'd like to at least throw a quick sentence of what is it that you're grateful for? And if you can say your name as well, that would be awesome.
I'll go
Yeah.
first.
My name is Nicole, and I'm grateful I woke up this morning.
Good morning.
I am Carol, and I'm grateful for my health.
Carol, oh, you know, that is a big one right there. If we have health, we have a lot more. So thank you, Carol. How about
I'm
yourself?
Shireen. Oh,
Shireen?
I'm grateful for my children and their happiness and health, and my parents.
Family. Beautiful. Thank you, Shireen. Absolutely. And there was somebody else that I heard, but I didn't get to hear the name.
Hey, I'm thankful that Omar's doing this, so I don't have to teach a class.
Danny, I appreciate you. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And if you feel free to jump on the chat, Dan, if you can come and help me with the chat as we're kind of going through, be able to participate. And it's going to be a little bit more interactive, not just me talking the whole way through. And I'll share a little bit about my background. I know Veronica did an awesome job, but I've been working with this company since 2003. I heard about it while I was at UCLA. And at the time, I actually wanted to become a doctor. I don't know if you have anybody you know that, you know, they go to college at first and wants to go into medicine. And that was my idea at UCLA. And one of my friends said, Omar, I know you want to pay for your education. You love working with people. You love helping others. We have a crazy summer job where you can sell these educational materials, but they're going to help you pay for school. And at the time, you know, I was pretty independent, but I wanted to make sure that I didn't have that much debt and my parents didn't have to worry about it. And if you have any college kids or you've been to college, you know how expensive college can be, right? Pretty expensive. So instead of hanging out during the summers, I went to do this summer job, and it was in Nashville, Tennessee, where the company's headquarters. And that's when I realized that this internship, I thought I was going to be selling at a store, at a school. It was actually going to be doing it door to door to door. So that was the summer job. At 20 years old, I was like, okay, well, what do I do? How do I sell this? Do I have a list? Do I have all these people that I'm going to just go and show the products to? They're like, nope, they have no idea that you're coming. And so in this company, they trained us from how to make a good first impression when you meet somebody for the first time. And if you've ever been door knocking, you know that you have no idea what's behind the door. They taught us how to go slow and low, how to look at someone in the eyes and be able to introduce yourself to build some trust. Sound familiar? And then once you're able to get into the door, you're able to build rapport, ask questions, listen, and be able to learn about your clients, learn about what their needs are so you can show their needs, right? So that was the introduction part. And then they taught us how to present our products, how to answer objections before they come up, right? How to help somebody make a decision from point A to point B, and how to close the deal, right? Does this all sound pretty familiar with all of us, right? And then at the end, they said, okay, everybody you interact with, ask for referrals, ask for introductions, right? We're all doing that in our business from every client. and that was the idea. And I was like, wow, like, I remember my first door I ever knocked on, I literally went blank. I was like, all these scripts, all these things that I had to memorize, they went out the door, right? And I had to learn how to be myself in this process as well. So that was my first summer. That's how I got introduced to sales. I came back for a second summer and I trained a team to do the exact same thing. And I love that so much. I switched my career and became a district manager for the company all around the West Coast. And the goal was to help other people achieve their goals in life. And I did that for 12 years and then went into my master's. And that's how I got into our division of coaching other people to help them in their goals. So hopefully that gave you a little bit of an idea. This is my 18th year in sales, but I've done, in sales more or less close to 20 years. And I'm here to share a little bit of ideas on some things that, how can we make these next month and a half even the best time of this year, and how can we build some momentum? Now, some of you might be here for a few years. If I can raise a hand, how many of you have been here at least or under 3 years? Anybody here under 3 years, 5 years, under 5 years? How many of us have been over 10 years in sales? 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years? 40 years. Wow, that is awesome. Carol, right? That was Carol, 40 years in the industry. Beautiful. And I love that because, whenever I hear somebody's like, hey, how can I grow? How can I get better at my craft? That's the idea today is how can we step back and be humbled enough to say, hey, wherever I'm at today is exactly where I'm at. And how can I get better from where I'm at today, right? I have people that I work, they're in their 70s and they're in their 80s and they're still saying, how can I get better this year, right? That teaches me a lot about humility. So today, think about what are some of your goals. So today it's going to be November 12th, 2020, right? We have a little bit over a month and a half for this year, and we're building already for 2021. So I want to hear some specific result goals that you want to achieve this next month and a half. What are some specific results that you want to see happen in your business this next month and a half? So who would like to share a specific goal that you like to see happen this next month and a half? Shireen?
Thank you. I know that I have been struggling with staying focused. And normally if I'm busy, it keeps me focused because I have to have more structure. But for some reason I'm busy, but I'm not being focused and I'm getting behind like every day.
Okay. So one of the main goals is just to get that focus back. And is that focus for your business, on doing your activity, looking at your business? What specific would you say? And
I think everything else is on hit right now. So that usually means that it's to the detriment of something else. But it's specifically in my work, in business. I'm just not staying focused. I'm jumping up from my desk. And it's not because of the whole stay home thing, because I've worked at home like my whole life. So it's not COVID related. It's just me.
Perfect. Thank you for being honest. All right. So ways to stay in focus, more present with your work and getting it done. Okay, great. Thank you for sharing that, Shireen. Who else has a specific goal that they would like to see happen these next 49 days that we have for this year? And I see Linda, I see Judith, Keith is online, Claire, Ishmael. Anybody else that would like to share at least one specific goal that you'd like to see happen?
I wrote in the comments, I would like to close 2 new listings before the end of the year.
Perfect. And who's this?
My name is Nicole Atkins,
Okay, Nicole.
like the
thank you.
diet.
Awesome. So 2 new listings for this year, Nicole. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Wonderful. Who else? Danny, any specific goals for you?
I just want to get through this year. I mean, January 1st would be nice to reboot 2020.
Okay, good. So kind of reset in some form or way to reset whatever's happened to build on to this next year. Okay, great.
Yeah, because it seems like we're all been kind of just climbing uphill, and I think we need a month to kind of plateau, whether it's with business, and I know everybody tends to do that around the first of the year. So my mindset is always January 1st. Let's do something different.
Okay, good. And then in terms of that, what would be one specific goal for 2021 for you? What would be one area?
Be more organized, because COVID definitely threw a lot more wrenches into the working machine.
Absolutely, absolutely. So organization, how many of us can relate to Danny, at least in 1 or 2 areas? Absolutely. Beautiful. So we're going to kind of jump in. So what Southwestern has done, and I don't know if any of here have heard of Southwestern, they've been around since 1855. So they've been around for a long, long time. And they study the science of sales, leadership, and business. And they've really kind of figured out what separates somebody from being a top producer from an average producer. Does that make sense? So I would like for everybody, it might not be something brand new that you haven't already heard, but it's something that you can say, hey, what can I take today? What's one golden nugget that I can use and apply for my business that can make a difference for this next year or the year afterwards, okay? So where there's gonna be 3 main areas that we can look at to see in areas of opportunity for growth. And there's a lot of times, Leonardo da Vinci said it doesn't really matter how much you know, it's all about what you do. It's not in the knowing that makes a difference, it's in the doing that makes the biggest difference. Does that make sense? So the first area that we can look at is your skills area of your business. So the skills area of it every day when you're out there talking to people, you're having seller conversations, right? You're negotiating a deal, a transaction, right? There's always these skills that you actually have. So right now, what are some of the specific skills that you actually use on a day-to-day on your business, right? So how many of you do you have to communicate with each other, right? Being able to ask better questions, be able to set up and figure out any objections that people might have. Oh, I want to wait till next year. I want to wait after COVID is done. Or I heard that, houses are going to drop. So I want to wait for that. Whatever objection you might hear is how do we answer objections? So that's a specific skill that we can overcome, right? Closing, how to go from point A to point B. How many of you love social media, right? How many of us can get better at social media as well, right? So social media is definitely a skill that you can develop. How many of you like to have more listings, right? Asking for referrals, getting more listings, all that is going to be the skills section of your business. Does that make sense? So one of the things that we focus on is where is that in terms of your sales? How can you sharpen that and develop that skill? Okay. The next one is going to be the motivational side of the business. So this motivation piece I like to really think about is being clear with your purpose and your why, right? I know Charlene was talking about sometimes we lose focus, we lose like the concentration. And oftentimes I like to tell my clients, go back to your why, go back to your vision, go back to that main drive that you have, that big will, so you can have refocus. But some of us are like, you know what? There's some really good days and I'm doing really, really well in my business. So we're kind of in cruise control. We're in that comfort zone that we're doing well. So we don't have to kind of get out of that comfort zone. Does that make sense? So the motivational piece is thinking about your goals, thinking about your why, your purpose. But how many of us have had months this year, especially in the beginning of the year, where you're like, 2021 is going to be great. Like I'm still going to have the best shape of my life. That's when the gyms are all packed and everybody wants to go to them, right? And then what happens, even besides COVID, what happens a few weeks later? What happens to the gyms? after like the third week or so. They're back at empty, right? They're back at that ground zero. So that motivational piece, what happens is that we get excited about things, we want to do certain things, but then we go back to our original habits, our original ways of doing things. So motivation, it really has to be a little bit bigger, and discipline yourself to really do the things that you know you should be doing every single day, even when you don't feel like doing them. Right? There's a book that says what's the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is that successful people are willing to do the things every single day that other people aren't willing to do. Does that make sense? So figuring out that motivational piece can make a difference in your business. And the third piece is going to be what I like to call putting systems in place. This is the area where most people said, you know what? I need to have a schedule, or I have a schedule and the schedule's in where? It's in my head. Right? So schedule, putting processes in place, follow-ups, right? How many of us know we can do better at following up with our clients, right? So the systems place part of the equation is going to be putting things on your schedule, if you're working with an assistant, right? If you're hiring somebody else, that's putting systems in place is going to be the organizational piece. How are you going to be following up with the clients after a close? Are you calling them back, right? Do you have a process that's going to make your job a little bit easier? Does that make sense? So all these things are going to be 3 areas. Think about which one for you can make a difference this next year, right? Which ones of all these 3 areas can make a difference for you, right? So put that in there. And then there's a piece right in the middle, and it says your habits. So your habits are going to be what's going to separate your this next year by having the good habits in your skills, in your motivation, and in your systems. And that's the word around it is going to be accountability, right? Do you guys know how long it takes to make a good habit? How long does it take to make a good habit? Have you guys heard that? How long does it take? I see Shireen saying yes. How long does it take? Do you know?
21 days, but I know that if I've also been told it could be as short as 14 and it could be as long as 30, but 21 days is the,
Yeah.
I'd say 69 days.
Who's that, Nicole? Or?
Yeah, sorry guys, I'm driving. I read scientifically it actually takes 69 days to develop a habit if you are more organized, but it can take up to 123 days.
So I've heard different ones, right? I heard 21 days to form a habit. Other studies show that it's 60, 90 days, right? Even 120 days to form that one habit. And how fast do you break a habit?
2 hours.
2 hours, 1 minute, right away, right? You can get back to bad habits right away. So I'm going to share with you a little poem, and it's called Who Am I? Okay. So it says, I am your constant companion. I am your greatest helper or your heaviest burden. I will push you onward or drag you down to failure. I'm completely at your command. Half of the things you do, you might as well turn over to me, and I will do them quickly and correctly. I'm easily managed. You must be firm with me. Show me exactly how you want something done, and after a few lessons, I will do it automatically. I am the servant of great people and the last of all failures as well. Those who are great, I have made great. Those who are failures, I have made failures. I'm not a machine, but though I work with the precision of a machine, plus the intelligence of a person. You may run me for a profit or run me to ruin. It makes no difference to me. Take me, train me, be firm with me, and I will place the world at your feet. Be easy with me, and I will destroy you. Who am I?
I would say myself.
I am a habit.
No habit.
I am a habit. Was that cool? Right? So your habits are the things that really shape you and do you, right? I work with agents, loan officers, insurance agents all the time. And a lot of them say, I already know this. I've been doing this for a long, long time. I already know what I need to be doing. The question is, are you doing it? And are you doing it consistently over and over and over? Does that make sense? So we're going to talk about one of the areas that we actually have control over. And one of those things that we actually have control over, guess what? It's our mind. So this idea, the first things we're going to cover about is the power of the mind, the importance thought control plays into your results every single day. And remember, don't trust me about it. This is a study that's been around for hundreds of years. Right now, there's PhD programs on positive psychology on how the mind works and how things work. Does that make sense? So we're going to kind of dive into how do we really consciously protect our mind, right? Because how many of us have heard negative things right now on social media? How many of us hear so many things in the media in general? So whether we like it or not, we're being programmed every single day. Our friends, our families, situations, fear, all the stuff that's happening in the world. We need to really learn how to control our mind, protect our mind, so we can really elevate ourselves to that next level, okay? So here's a quote that says, a person's mind is so powerful, we can invent, create, experience, and destroy things with thoughts alone. Would you guys agree with that? Just with your own thoughts. Everything starts right there in the middle of your ears are gonna be your thoughts. So true growth is acquired through having great mindset, right? There's so many different great coaches out there, Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, right? Some of the old school folks. There's so many people out there that talk about these principles on how do we protect our mind, right? You can't say something out loud that is positive and be thinking negative. And I love this quote. It is with language that you create, you invent possibility, and then with action that you live into it. It is with language that you invent possibility, and then with action that you live into it, right? You are your word. Whatever you say, you do, right? So these are kind of like the principles. So self-talk, how many of you guys have ever heard of self-talk or affirmations, declarations, right? It's been around for a long time. So hopefully this is a little bit of a different perspective. But sometimes our mind is not our friend, right? Have you guys ever tried meditation and your mind is like blah, 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 like on and on and on, and all these monkeys in your head just talking forever and ever. So your mind and your thoughts are just all over the place, right? And if we listen to that, we're going to be all over the place. So how do we really train your subconscious, your mind to support you? Okay. So why does self-talk actually matter? Number one is because your success results from your actions, and your actions are going to be filtered by your feelings, and your feelings are going to be based on your attitude. And your attitude actually comes from our belief system, and our belief system is purely programmed. Does that make sense? And so there's a really good book by Dr. Chad Helmstetter, and he says what to say when you talk to yourself. It's an old school book, but it's really good. What to say when you talk to yourself by Dr. Chad Helmstetter. And this is the idea that everything is being programmed since we were little kids, right? When we see the media now, what we read, what we don't read, what we choose to, listen to or not listen to, it's all being programmed, okay? And so Zig Ziglar says, people often say that motivation doesn't last. Well, neither does bathing. That's why we recommend it every single day, right? We need that positive feeding our mind every single day. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys an idea behind this, right? So our intention, have you guys ever heard, like, whatever you set your intention, you set with what you want, you create that into the universe, right? So it all starts with your intention, right? When you have good intentions, you set the right attitude. We all have friends that are negative at one point in our lives, right? People that are like, everything's going to go bad. This is going to be chaotic. It's blah, 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 right? And then it's just that negative feel. And then when it happens, they're like, I told you it was going to be that way. I knew it was going to happen. He wasn't a good person, or that client was this way. So we set the intention into existence by the way we begin that intention, right? So once you have your intention or your thoughts, you get into that state. And I love this idea because have you ever heard, I wish you were more loving. I wish you would pay more attention to me. I wish you were kinder. I wish you were more direct with me. And we always want people outside of us to do things for us, right? So if we want to be receiving more love, we need to be giving more love, right? So it's the state that you're in that's going to make a difference, right? And we have control over that for ourselves. So when you're in a state, when you're actually being more loving or being more productive or being more effective or being more focused, then you start taking an action. Does that make sense? And then your action is what's going to create the results. There's another really good book. It's called Power versus Force. Power versus Force by Dr. David Hawkins. And he really goes into a lot of research and how your state, your intention, wherever you're vibrating at, whatever you're at, it's going to be the action or the activity that you do or do not do, right? So if you're in a state of forgiveness, right, you're going to be more flexible, you're going to be more open, you're going to be more, you know what, it doesn't hurt you, right? Because if we don't forgive somebody, who does it really hurt? Does it hurt the other person or does it hurt ourselves? It hurts ourselves, right? So that's kind of like the mindset shift of how can I show up as, set my intention to be more understanding or be more optimistic or set the right intention or be more trusting. That's going to set you in a different place versus, you know, I'm angry about this, or I'm frustrated about this, I hate this, or, you know, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm in a state of fear. So that's kind of like the energy that we're also attracting to ourselves. And it's all in the mind, right? So there's a lot of science that goes behind this, but it's a really good book if you want to go a little bit deeper in this idea. So here's how the mind works, right? So the mind works that when we get information, our senses, our touch, our smell, our listening, everything goes into our spinal cord, right? And then through the spinal cord, it's going to go into our part of the brain that's going to actually acquire all that information, right? And then we're going to go into the emotional part of our brain, our limbic system. So the limbic system is all the emotions that we acquire. So if something happens, our emotions first go into our limbic system, and then it goes into our frontal lobe, which is going to be your rational side of the brain, right? So oftentimes this whole process that's going, we become very emotional, and then we that's what the saying says, think about it, let it be, and then we become rational. So we want information to be processed the whole way through. Does that make sense? So when you say, I'm really busy right now, there's so much going on right now, right? Have you guys ever heard people say, there's so much going on, I'm really busy? How does that show up, right? How do people start acting when they say, I'm really busy? I have a lot of things to do right now, I'm busy. It's automatically says there's not enough time, I have too much going on, right? I'm a little bit disorganized. And then when you're around people that are super busy, how does that make you feel around them? A little bit on edge, right? Or a little bit like scattered. So one of my clients, she would, in real estate, she's like, I'm really busy, there's so much going on. And she had her an assistant, and they felt like they were all over the place all the time. And her mindset went from I'm really busy to I'm in high demand. I'm in high demand. So how does it feel when you say I'm in high demand? You're like, oh, feels good, right? It's like people want to work with me, business is coming in, I'm in demand, I feel confident. And then suddenly your mind is like, I'm in demand, so let's be more creative and think about the solution and how we can be more organized. How can we do more things in less time? So your mind, I'm in demand, automatically starts acting in a different way. I'm just giving you a very simple example, but guess what? Her attitude changed, her demand changed, and then she started being more organized on her day, on her week, working with her assistant. And guess what? Within 6 months, she doubled her income because she was being more organized. She was doing more things in less time. And guess what? People wanted to work with her a little bit more. It spreads out. So just with that specific phrase, it changed her attitude. A year later, she's like, I'm going for Congress now. I'm like, how did that happen? How did you double your income and now are going to Congress where 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, you had no time? She's like, that's what I was telling myself. I was telling myself a lie that I was believing, but everybody has 24 hours. Everybody has 7 days a week. I could do more in less time. I could be more effective and efficient in less time. So hopefully that example, makes a difference, but think about all the language that you tell yourself every single day. Right? You don't do this. I don't do this. I'm this way all the time. And you're reaffirming that for you, if that makes sense. So So self-talk, whatever you tell yourself, right, it's going to go into your self-image of who you are. And your self-image is going to create an action or a behavior. And that action or behavior is going to create a result. Okay. I'll give you a simple example. So let's say I say, you know, hot chocolate. So when I say the words hot chocolate, what happens? I see Karen, she's like, oh, that's going to be hot. It's going to be good. It's chilly right now. I'll love some hot chocolate, right? So how many of you, if you like hot chocolate, feel like that would be really nice right now, right? Like that makes a good sense. So the hot chocolate probably gives you it doesn't give you the words H-O-T space C-H-O, right? It doesn't give you the words, but it creates an image. And that image creates a feeling or a behavior, and that creates the result. Does that make sense? So there's the science behind it. So with your words, you want to create affirmations that support you. You want to create pictures that affirm with what you want. You want to visualize those things that you want. So, hey, I'm a top producer. What does that feel? What are those words say? What does that make you feel being a top producer? You know, I set up 2 listings every month, right? Like Nicole, I set up 2 listings every month. So I set up 2 listings. Like, how do I feel? I'm productive. I'm effective. I'm communicative. I call my past clients, and you picture that good feeling and you feel that joy. Does that make sense? So, you know, I listen to my kids. I listen to my husband. I'm proactive with what I do. I'm becoming more organized every single day. I'm becoming more productive every day. I make my last month of the year the most productive. You start framing your thoughts, your behaviors, and your emotions and your feelings in a different mindset. Does that make sense? So these affirmations, I'm gonna share a quick little example of, I don't know if you've ever seen this before, but I love watching this little video on how affirmations work, okay? So if you guys can actually listen to it. Awesome, hope you guys enjoy that. I love this piece because it's just exciting, right? Just to hear somebody, their energy level changes, their attitude changes, everything about their perspective starts changing, right? So you can create your own affirmation. So this is my recommendation for you. Develop affirmations of each area of your life that's key area. So if it's health, right? I heard health earlier today. I heard, you know, your business, right? Your focus, your schedule, your whatever those areas are, and write them down and review them daily, right? Show that picture every single day. And this is a big one, is catch yourself doing things right, right? Oftentimes we catch ourselves doing things wrong. Oh, I hate when I do this, or that's not me. And so reverse that and catch yourself doing things right. Catch your significant others doing things right. Catch your family and friends doing things right, and affirm it. Okay. I learned this piece of affirmations when I was younger in the business. And one of my mentors, he would always carry his suit, and he would always pull out these affirmations from his suit. And his affirmations would be a little bit different every time. But the one that he always loved to say, I feel happy, I feel healthy, and I feel terrific, right? And he would carry these affirmations. Sorry, he would carry these affirmations. And I was like, why do you do this? He's like, Omar, there's 3 things that I can share with you. Number 1, you have to have really good self-talk. Number 2 is you have to hold yourself accountable to the things that you know you should be doing. And number 3, always think big. And this gentleman, Spencer Hayes, you know, when I met him at that time, he was already worth $800 million. $800 million. So think about somebody who's very successful and they still read their affirmations every single day. He donated over $300 million to, you know, charity in France and art. But to me, it was like, gosh, no matter how old you are, no matter how successful you are, he wrote those affirmations. He says, every morning I wake up, you know, I'm in my 70s, my back hurts, my legs hurt, my body hurts. But I say, I feel happy, I feel healthy, and I feel terrific. By the 7th, 8th, 9th time that I say it, I'm feeling a little bit better, a little bit more terrific, a little bit healthier. But that's the mindset piece of it all. So I encourage you to create your own affirmations. Louise Hayes, I don't know if any of you know of Louise Hayes, awesome affirmations. Her website is spectacular. She passed away in her 90s, but she did a lot of good out there. And I think that that was a big area of growth that a lot of people took from her. So Louise Hayes is great to listen to affirmations about finances, relationships, whatever that might be. But create one that means something to you and that actually are real to you. Does that make sense? Because the idea is that you not create something that you don't believe in, but you actually connect with, okay? So this is the piece of the mindset. Are you guys taking at least some golden nuggets so far? I hope a few good reminders of things that you might already heard. But this is the first piece. So what I like to kind of go into now is kind of shift into what does 2021 look like for you? Have you been working on your business plan for 2021, or are you thinking about it already? A lot of people started in January, which is great. Some people start in December, but I think the earlier you start putting yourself in what do you want to see happen in 2021, at least from what you can do, it's going to get you more excited for these next few years, right? Will it be your biggest year ever? Will it work even better? Right? I know some of you have been here for a long, long time. I work with a lot of agents, and I've seen that some people this year, when COVID hit or when life hit, they just kind of stumbled to it. They're just like, oh my God, like they kind of froze up a little bit. They're just like doing things a little bit more careful, just waiting to see what will happen. And then some people still taking that into consideration, but said, hey, what can I do? What can I control? Can I call my past clients? Can I check in with them to see how they're doing? Can I send out a postcard? Can I send out a thank you card? How can I network in a different way through social media? Or how can I work through other, BNI, Rotary, whatever that might be? And how can I be creative, but not stop the momentum? And those people that really kind of just said, I'm not going to use this as an excuse, but I'm going to use this as a reason to go out there and work really hard. I've seen a major difference from people having their best years they've ever had in their careers after they've been here for 20, 30 years. And then some people that just stayed the same. And some people actually, unfortunately kind of went down, right? So wherever you're at is where you're at. But I think right now you can make that decision is like, what can I do today moving forward for what I want, for what I'm choosing to see for my future, right? So I like to just kind of share with you, just create some SMART goals for yourself. Create 15 goals for this year that you want to see happen. I like to look at areas of your finance, your business, your career, your personal, your spiritual, your emotional, your mental, your social, areas in your life where you can create these SMART goals, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and there's a time frame, right? Break your goals down, whatever they are for you. Does that make sense? And how many of you have ever created a vision board before? Vision board, have they worked for you? Sometimes, okay.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Was that Nicole or who was that?
Yes, I do vision boards every year, and I also do them with my clients.
Awesome. I love vision boards. Everyone's a little bit different. I say if you've done them before, redo them again every single year. I like the concept be, do, have in my vision board. Oftentimes people jump into the have part of the equation, which is great. That's kind of like the icing on the cake, what you want to see happen, the result, which is awesome. But I like to really focus on the be and the do, which is going to be the be is who are you showing up as? What are your values that are really important to you this year? I'm going to be more patient. I'm going to be more purposeful. I'm going to be more disciplined. I'm going to be more caring. I'm going to show a little bit more love. I'm going to be on fire. I'm going to be unstoppable force. Whatever state you are, that's something really important to put on your vision board. If you have a quote or there's a person that you admire, there's a person that says, you know what, their character is so important. I admire their humble character. That's what I'm going to put up on my vision board. It reminds you of who you're showing up as every single day. So I love the be part of the equation on your vision board. So whether you want to put words, phrases, or pictures that help you describe the ways you're being. And then the do is the reminder of what activities you need to do, like exercise, a good diet, checkups at the doctor, right? Making your phone calls, listings, seller conversations. How many of us know that if we have more seller conversations this next year, our business is going to grow just with that one activity? Do you guys agree? If you have more seller conversations, your business is going to grow. So having an activity reminds you, I'm going to have 2 seller conversations every single week, right? Or 1, whatever that is for you. But that's going to be a reminder of what you need to do to have those things you want to have. So if you want to go from 100 to 200,000 or 200,000 to 300,000 or more, whatever that is for you, have that in your vision board, and then the be, the do, have, so you can enjoy the have. Does that make sense? So it's a little bit different, but I like to see all 3 on your vision board: be, do, have. Okay. Another way to do this is to find your why. So if you want to take a screenshot, it's 20 what's to find your why. This is going to be really cool, because if you can really find your why, your purpose for this next year, these are the things that really mean something to you. These are some really good brainstorming questions to get you thinking of that bigger why. So take a picture of it. Some of these you might be like, oh, I've done this every year. Some of the questions might be like, I've never really thought about this. I've never really thought about, what things would have to happen for me to accomplish my big goals, or what I want to leave behind, or whatever that might be. What if I had no fears? How would my life look like if I had no fears? What if I didn't get in the way of all my goals myself? Does that make sense? So these are really, really cool. I promise you, if you work through these, you take some time and you really give yourself an hour or 2 to really work through those, you will come up with some really good ideas for yourself that you might have not thought otherwise. Okay. So these are really good questions to ask yourself to find your why. Okay. This is another way I like to do my plan of purpose. And these are my pillars. These are the things that really motivate me and inspire me to become a better person, to be a better leader, to be a better coach, et cetera, et cetera. So what are your 5 pillars this next year? Is it your health, right? I know we talked about that. Or is it your relationships, your business relationships? Is it your personal, mental, spiritual, emotional way that you're going to grow this year? Is it going to be your business that you really are looking to invest, or you're looking to partner with somebody? So look through the pillars and break them down into bullet points. So instead of looking at 20 pages or 5 pages, you can come up with a 1 page where you can read and look at every day to remind you your focus, what's important to you. Does that make sense? So these are your pillars. And if you're a little bit more technical and you want to go into more of the details, here's going to be the other area, which is going to be a plan of purpose, but it's more of a spreadsheet where you have your personal goals and you have your professional goals, and then you create the plan underneath it, right? How are you going to do this? How are you going to make this happen? What's your plan to accomplish your personal and your professional goals, right? What are you going to be doing every single day? What's your activity going to look like? And this is not something you have to work through the whole year, but it breaks it down now. So you just act on what you're setting up to do, right? I have a client of mine, Joe Hutak. He doubled his business when we were doing our coaching in 6 months. He doubled his production, went from 200K to 400K. And he says, I asked him, like, what helped you? And he's like, I just did more of what I knew I should be doing more consistently. So all the things that I do in a year or 2, I actually just did it in 6 months. I didn't get as distracted. I didn't go into that chit chat conversation that was 10, 15 minutes. I didn't go on my social media and spend an extra 10, 20, 30 minutes. I literally just focused on my plan. I focused on my vision. I focused on the things that I knew I should be doing it more consistently. And he literally doubled his income in 6 months by doing his plan, working his plan and focusing on his plan. No miracles, nothing in the market. It was him doing the work. Does that make sense? I know it's something you probably already heard many times, but this is going to help you stay focused and work your plan, whatever that is. Okay. And really a lot of our conversation was holding him accountable to what he said he was going to do. Be your word, keep your word, and do it consistently. Was it perfect every time? No, but he worked towards it every time. Okay. So ask yourself on a scale 1 to 10, where am I at? Not good or bad, not judging yourself. Where are you at? Are you a 10 where you set your plan, you have your schedule, you have your focus, and you do what you say you're going to do? You're a 10. You're at the, if somebody took your schedule, they knew exactly what they needed to do all day long, all week long. Or you a 1? A 1 is just like, I have really good intentions. I know what I want to do. Sunday, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. And then Monday hits, I'm in reactive mode. I'm on the phone. I'm on the email. I'm on the phone calls. I'm being distracted, interrupted left and right. And I'm just go, go, go. You're at that 1 level. So where are you at 1 to 10? So just write that number down, mark it down. Where are you? Again, not good or bad, but where are you right now? 1 to 10. 10, your business, schedule, do the things that you're going to do. Everything gets done on your list. A 1, you have intentions, but it's all in your head and it might or might not get done. That's a 1. So everybody has a number. Put it in the chat if you haven't yet. I see everybody here. Okay. So here's the thing. How much is it costing you not being a 10 every single day? How much is it costing you not being a 10 every day? Notice I didn't say how much money. For some of you, it might be a lot of money, but for some of you, it might be that peace of mind. When you're at work, you're go, 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 you get home, you're picking up your phone, you're checking your emails, your husband or wife says, can you get off that thing? Just stay focused on what we're doing, give your family time, and you have to get up and answer that. And then when you're at home, at work, you're just like distracted of other things. It's all over the place, right? And he says, with having a schedule, with really sticking to what I'm doing every day, he's like, not only did I make more money because he was selling 1 every month, he started selling 3 listings every single month, focusing on his listings. So he more than tripled his production. But he says, what I enjoy the most is that I'm more present. I'm more focused. I'm not running all around. I'm literally focused and at peace with where I'm at every single day. Does that make sense? That's what it was costing him. That guilty feeling in his stomach of not doing his best, not being at his best every day. Does that make sense? So one thought that I have, obviously we're running out of time, but is set yourself up to win. And a way to do it is to set up a schedule. Now, this doesn't have to look like your schedule every day, but if you don't have a schedule, life is running you versus you running your life. A schedule is really helping you stay in focus and in control of your day, right? So on your schedule, are your income producing activities in there? You need to be prospecting. You need to be following up. You need to be having more conversations. Are you setting time for that, right? Are you setting time for working out? You should be working out, right? We all know that. Are you setting time for that, right? Are you working your schedule? Are you working on your business, not just in your business all day? So hopefully this schedule helps. You can take a picture of it. Obviously, we really kind of dig into how this can look like, but here's just some examples. Some people do paper schedule, Outlook schedule, whatever works for you, but have a schedule that works and build on it. I promise you, if you do that, you will see some growth in your production, right? And so hopefully that works. I know there's a disease called Lodi. It's in me, it's in you, it's in all of us. And Lodi, its name is the law of diminishing intent. The law of diminishing intent, right? The law of diminishing intent says that when you want to do something and you don't do it right away, through time, what happens? It goes all the way down, right? How many times have you heard people like, I'll call you, send me your business card, you give me your number, and they wanted to do it, and with time, it doesn't happen. Does that make sense? It works the same with us. So action cures fear. Action cures fear, right? False evidence appear real. It's just something in your head that you've made up, but action cures that, right? So immediate action, right? The number one cause of not having success is procrastination. We procrastinate in doing the things that we know we should be doing. Okay. So here's a little visual. Your target is what can you control? What are the things that you can control every day? And there's Very simple, right? You can only control certain things: your attitude, what you feed your thoughts, your schedule, and your activity, your work stats, what you do. That's all. That's all you really can control. So do the things, focus on the things that you can control, right? What can you influence? You can influence people. You can influence your interruptions. You can influence other individuals. You can't control them. Some of you would like to control people, but you can't control them, but you can definitely influence them, right? And then you must accept all the external things. Think about how much energy we lose every day on all the external things, on the weather, on all these issues that are happening, things that are so out of our control. We use so much of our mind, our power, our energy in focusing on areas that we can do nothing about. Does that make sense? You can take action, you can do things and focus on those areas. I promise you, if you start doing the things that you know you should be doing consistently, you will see some action and results these next few weeks and the next few months. So hopefully this was helpful. I really appreciate this. I know we had a short time, but I hope you guys are taking some things with you. If you can just put in the chat or like to share one thing that you're committed to these next few weeks, or one thing that you can apply to your personal or professional life, I would love to hear it. So if you can share, that would be awesome. I think Carol, you raised your hand, was it? I think she accidentally left. Okay. So anybody else that would like to share at least one thing that they're taking away from our time together? And maybe Danny, if you want to start, maybe one thing that was helpful, a good reminder, something that you're going to kind of implement that maybe you haven't, or.
Yeah, I think the easiest is just accountability, making sure that somebody's keeping track of you.
Perfect. So having a little bit more accountability, great. Who else like to share something? Shireen?
Thank you. You reminded me, and it was towards the end, so it's sticking, about the value of a schedule, about your life controlling you. And I've always been really good about block scheduling. And in the last few weeks, I abandoned it, and I need to reinstate it.
Perfect.
It's bulletproof if it's followed. If it's followed.
You got it. Thank you so much. Anybody else like to share or write in the chat one takeaway from our call today, or one thing that you're going to implement or apply? Anybody else? Okay, good. Well, if you guys see this picture, I don't know if you guys can tell what they all have in common, right? All these successful individuals, they all have outside accountability, right? That's what Danny kind of mentioned. So I'm going to offer you guys just a complimentary session. If you have any questions on any of what we talked about, or you want to have a one-on-one with me where you're like, hey, Omar, like, I'm working on my business plan. Can you help me with this? Or tell me more about what you do? Whatever it is, I'm putting my information in here. My email is oribe@southwesterncoaching.com. I'm going to put in my cell phone at the chat as well. If you guys aren't able to see it, it's 951-757-9367. And this is really a compliment from Veronica to just have a business action plan session for anybody of you that you would like to have a one-on-one with a business sales coach. It would be a complimentary session for you, no cost. And if you do have any questions, anything I can help, it is an absolute honor. Danny, thank you so much for having us. I hope you guys have
Thanks, Omar. Yeah, so I'd say everybody, at least hit Omar up for that, that free consultation for it. And I was thinking, that we have a few agents that want to do it, we could also set up some sort of accountability group, and maybe Omar could facilitate that and kind of help everybody stay on track, for 2021.
Absolutely. And we'll stay in touch. I know we appreciate everybody here. Thanks for taking your time on this Thursday afternoon for plugging in, and hope you guys can take something and implement in your business. So Shireen, Judith, everybody that was on here, Claire, Mary, Keith, Linda, Lauren, Gret, Ishmael, all of you guys, thank you so much. Hope you guys have a great day.
All right.
And
Thank you guys. Have a great Thursday.
all right. Thank you, Danny. Have a good one.